Morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's edition of the MPC Markets Morning Call. Up until about, a couple of hours ago, it was SpaceX, and more SpaceX. That's all the market could talk about. Sort of even paled into comparison to, the 39th occasion that President Trump had said that they were going to do a deal. But, I mean, look, it appears as though it's 39th time lucky. Yes, apparently there has been a deal. Iran's not denying it this time necessarily. They're denying certain little bits and pieces. They said that the memorandum of understanding has never been closer and peace has never been this close from the Pakistani Prime Minister. They said that the nuclear issues are second phase, while Trump's framing it as a guaranteed deal. Look, I mean, this could still be, this could still be like, a pretty dicey situation. But I mean, the markets are taking it as an absolute done deal. We've got in futures the Nasdaq up 1.2% on Monday morning here. We've also got oil down about 4% as well. We're around about the 81 mark in the WTI, and because everyone thinks that we're going to be reopening again. So yeah, we'll wait to see. But look, this definitely does. There is a draft MOU, and it basically covers the immediate Strait of Hormuz reopening, the lifting of the US naval blockade restrictions, and then release of 25 billion in frozen Iranian assets. Look, Trump's going to sell this as a win, but let's face it. Iran's come out of this with higher oil prices, which they sell 25 billion of unfrozen assets, and being able to flex their muscle and show the world that they can pretty much, hinder their progress at any time. Apparently, Trump went on air and lashed Netanyahu in an expletive-laden call after Israel struck Beirut, killing 3 and injuring 15. So, a little bit on the rocks there. Maybe Netanyahu can ring Elon for some advice on how to handle, being a frenemy of Donald Trump. So, look, Friday night we had we basically had those chip stocks head back up. But look, it's very difficult to find any information on anything because all everyone talked about was SpaceX. It basically went off largely without a hitch. As you can see here, the 5-day looking as strong as it's looked for a very long time. Look at even the old ASX looking mildly positive as well. So we finished the week very strongly, and look, we've got some central bank stuff coming up this week, which may really put a dampener on it. But I dare say if there is a deal, people will start looking through those inflation numbers, and basically calling them transient will be completely justified. So here was SpaceX. So it bang and opened up, pretty much went straight up. We did, for those of you who listen to the morning call most days, we did call that up 30% mark as a potential place for it to stop, because current and former SpaceX employees with vested shares and early venture capital investors and other pre-IPO shareholders were allowed to sell at that point. And wouldn't you know it, 30.8% was as high as it got, and then it came straight back down from there. So we're back down at 161.29. We've got the world's first trillionaire in Elon Musk, and I think he made something along the lines of 4,500 new millionaires in this, and then of which 1 in 3 are worth over $100 million apparently at SpaceX. So some of those employees. So I've read a few books about this, and they have been long-suffering people, I've got to say, under Elon's timelines, and stuck on islands for long periods of time, and a little bit, some of it's, the early stages were pretty Lord of the Flies style stuff when they were doing these launches, and very, very difficult trying to get, rocket engineering is the hardest engineering of all. So pretty well deserved. And look, we've got that. The Starship's going to be the next really big thing, because that's where this thing takes off. Excuse the pun. It's really hard to do any SpaceX stuff without without using the dad puns. But look, if that Starship is delayed or has problems in any way, you will definitely see this thing probably head back to the downside. Its inclusion in the Nasdaq is sort of early next week. I wouldn't imagine any of the major major shareholders are going to start to be selling until we get through that, and then there's some passive flow to be able to get there. But cumulative unlock line. So after Q2 earnings, 2026, another 20% can go, and then another 10% on performance. So at that point, it's 30%. 70 days post IPO, another 7%. 90 days, 7%. 105 days, 7%. etc. Basically, at 180 days, which is essentially 6 months, everything will be free floating, and there probably will be enough passive flow there to probably handle the volume that may or may not want to be sold. The instos have got plenty of this, and I would imagine so. This will be really timely. I dare say that like most well-managed insto IPOs where they're selling to retail, they don't ambush everyone all at once. So, Guzmani Gomez in Australia, he was one of the best test cases, or case studies of a well-managed IPO, and then once the lockups were gone, headed significantly south. So probably go and have a look at a chart there and marry up the lockups to what point you probably see a pretty good case study overall. So, but yeah, overall it will grind out over time, like I said, out to 6 months, and we'll see how it goes. We did cover the mega IPOs, more so SpaceX, on Bulls versus Bears, our weekly podcast. All 4 of us on there: Kai Chen, myself, Finju Dell, Jonathan Takadina. You can have a look for that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and just search at NPC Markets or Bulls versus Bears, and subscribe to that. And we release that every Friday, so a little bit more in depth in the morning call, and we do a little bit of a focus topic. We're probably following up with Anthropic and OpenAI this week. We got a little bit lost in the old SpaceX on Friday, and probably when we didn't have enough time to cover the others, so we'll cover them in depth this week, I would imagine. So commodities wise, look, I mean, these are all obviously changed now. This is from Friday night settlement, but silver's popped about 3 or 4%. Crude's fallen another 4.5%. And I would imagine those risk-on assets like lithium, uranium, etc. I would imagine copper as well would most certainly be heading higher at this point on the futures. Just let me double check here, people. But no, copper's only up. Yeah, silver's up the most, around 3. Platinum up 3. And I would imagine gold's up 1.5 as well, and crude only down. Crude's still down about 4.5. Front month showing $81 there at the moment. So yeah, overall, these are largely fairly irrelevant, but we will have a bit more of a risk-on attitude, I would imagine, leading into today. Look, what's ahead? Well, we've obviously got to find, we've got to get a confirming statement on the Iran deal, which is expected imminently. Let's hope it's not the 49th time, because the 40th time, because Trump's really the market's very much taken the bait this time. Obviously, we got Kevin Warsh, his first meeting as the Fed chair. He's going to be fairly relieved, I would imagine, given that he can now call inflation transitory. SpaceX day 2 will be interesting to watch, up 19.2% on debut. We'll just see. Well, obviously, this is going to help it as well. In Australia, we've got a capital gains tax inquiry in the Senate over 2 days with quite a few experts coming through. And then we are supposedly set for an official signing ceremony of that of this memorandum of understanding in Switzerland on June the 19th. So that's that'll be Friday. But look, ASX, I'm assuming will be set for a very strong open. Energy sector won't be that great, but I think everything else will be looking pretty strong overall. And we don't have much in terms of actual economic data this week that we need to be super worried about. Just some manufacturing data. Retail sales might, if we show a significant slowing in retail sales or building permits and housing starts in the US, it might have a small effect. But we've got RBA tomorrow, we've got FOMC on Wednesday, and we've had the ECB. They've just hiked rates, and it is expected that the Aussie Central Bank will be going to a more of a on hold status due to the the changes within the property market, and obviously now that they can take they've set their mind at ease just a little bit, that we may see oil prices heading lower on this Hormuz reopen. Or well, remember take with a grain of salt just yet. So we'll just see what happens. But I mean, they keep inching closer. Surely 39 times is enough times to cry wolf. On demand now, you can scan this QR code and have a look at our webinar, Software Survivors 2.0, the sequel. You can also get our AI disruption threat heat map as well. We're looking at potentially doing an investment around this over the course of the coming month. We're just going to see how the obviously the Iran thing plays out, and if we if the Fed goes to a hawkish stance and things like that as well. So you can keep updated. But obviously, if you sign up there, you register, you get the on-demand video, and then we will keep you in touch with the investment if we proceed. So have a great start of the week, people, and we will speak again tomorrow.